Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be filming my review on the Colourpop That's Taupe palette. You guys have been requesting for this one. I'm sorry it took me so long. They're just back on their game, you know, there's a new release every week and I'm falling behind, but I'm finally reviewing this for you guys. You guys know the drill. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the palette, swatches, comparisons, and 3 looks, the whole shebang. But before we get into the review, I do want to thank Nordgreen for working with me once again and for sponsoring this portion of today's video. If you guys haven't heard of Nordgreen before, they are a Scandinavian watch brand based in Copenhagen, Denmark, and underneath my big bow sleeves, I wear their native watch as my everyday daily watch, and I got mine in the gold hardware with the 32mm face on the vegan brown leather strap. And when you look at their site, you'll see a lot of their watches are very minimal, very simple, which means it will suit literally anyone and everyone, no matter your gender, age. Harry actually also has one of their watches as well. He wears the Philosopher watch on the gunmetal hardware with the 36mm face, and he also wears the brown and vegan leather strap as well, so we're kind of like matchy. But Nordgreen is a sustainable brand, so they plant thousands of trees to offset their carbon emissions. They also use sustainable packaging by upcycling plastic bottles, and also their curtains are FCS certified. And on top of that, they work with 3 different non-governmental organizations, which in return donates 2 months of clean water, 2 months of education, and 200 square feet of rainforest is saved. And not only they are sustainable, it's also an ethical brand as well. Nordgreen ensures all of their production faculties, environment, and employee rights are up to the highest standard. So if you guys are interested in Nordgreen, or if you want to get some early Christmas shopping done, now is the time, because Nordgreen is currently having their Black Friday sales up until I think the 30th of November. Their sale is 20 to 30% off, but if you use my special code, which I will put over here, you can actually save 35% off. So it's the highest discount that you can get, an extra 5%. And I think gifting a watch is bulletproof. You cannot go wrong. Everybody would love the gift of time, am I right? And again, I just want to thank Nordgreen for sponsoring this portion of today's video and for again working with me. But with that being said, we can now dive into the review. Okay, that's Taupe. That's dope. This is $14 US. It's in their cardboard packaging, and first impressions, you guys know me, not a huge fan. I just dug my finger into the shadow. You guys know me, I'm not like such a huge fan of cool tone eyeshadow, so when I first saw this, I wasn't really like that hyped about it, and I just feel like with the launch of Stone Cold, I was like, okay, there's a lot of cool tones for me. But after playing around with it, I actually really enjoyed it. I really love the looks that I created. I don't know if it's just like I want to play things up. I don't know if it's the context. Sorry, my fake bangs are in my lashes. I don't know what it is, but I really enjoyed playing around with this palette. And the question that I get asked most is, can you please compare this to the Stone Cold Fox? And I got you. I'm actually going to compare it to a couple of their other cool tone neutral palettes, which they don't actually have a lot of, to be honest. But we'll compare it to Stone Cold Fox since that is the most recent cool tone launch. I think if you did pick up Stone Cold Fox, you do not need this. These shades are in Stone Cold Fox, like not exact, but very close. You do not need both palettes. If you are a warm tone lover like me and you just want a little bit of cool tones, then I would say go for That's Taupe. But if you are a cool tone lover and you just want more cool tones, you want options, then Stone Cold Fox will definitely have more options, and it's a better value since it is a mega palette. But I don't think you really need both. You can definitely dupe this palette within Stone Cold Fox, so it's really up to you and your preference in tones of eyeshadow. And what I really like about this palette is actually you do get a bit of mauves in here and also a bit of cool tones. So if I was to compare it to some other 9pan palettes, I definitely would say this is a mixture of Making Mauves and Going Coconuts. Making Mauves is definitely, again, more on that mauvey side, but it has that cool tone undertone, and then Going Coconuts definitely has that cool tone vibe, but it's leaning more to the neutral side. And if I would have to choose out of these 3 9pan palettes, so Making Mauves, Going Coconuts, and That's Taupe, I personally like That's Taupe. I know Going Coconuts is a lot of people's daily favorite palette, but for me, I just don't really like Going Coconuts. I don't know, that palette just was ain't it for me. It really depends what you're going for and what you're looking for. I feel like at this point, Colourpop really has made a palette for everyone and anyone, whatever your preference is. You need a big cool tone palette, we got you. You need a small one with a bit of mauves and a bit of neutrals, we got you. You just want mauves, we got you. You want just neutrals, we got you too. I feel like they're literally catering to almost everyone, so I feel like it really depends on you. It's really hard for me to recommend what you want, but if I was just like a regular person, no, actually I am a regular person. If I didn't film videos for YouTube, I probably would go for this one. This is really all I need. I think this shade selection in here is really spot on. So you get 5 mattes and 3 metallics, 1 super shock, and I think the mattes are really great because you get a really light transition, sort of a light to medium, and then a really dark shadow here, as well as the metallics. So you get the super shock, which is your light metallic, you get some medium metallics, and then a very dark metallic. So for me, a 9 pan like this, shade selection wise, this is perfect. It's spot on. Everything you need is in here. I don't think any shade in here will really go to waste. Some other comparisons I'm gonna put up, I think I compared it to the Fame palette, which is a really old palette. I think it came out like 2 or 3 years ago now. If you have that palette, I don't think you really need this one as well. I think if you have any of their other cool tone palettes, you don't really need this one because you will definitely create similar looks. Overall, positive thoughts on the palette. I would recommend it, but I don't think you must have it. It really depends what you already have in your collection, because I do think the shades are very comparable to the other cool tone palettes. Okay, so hopefully you guys found that little review, comparisons, and swatches helpful. But now we can move into the 3 looks. I hope you guys will enjoy all of them. Alright, so to get started with the first look, I'm going to go in with the shade Python, and this is going to be our transition shadow. So I'm just going to work that straight into my crease using windshield wiping motions like always, blending that up towards my brow bone and my outer corners. I also take the same shadow onto my lower lash line as well, just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner, just getting a good base going. Then I'm jumping into the shade Bedrock, and I'm going to start packing this on at the outer corners of my eyes to really start deepening out the outer corners. And you just want to take your time with this step, since we did go from a sort of a light transition shadow straight to a really deep dark matte brown. It is a big contrast. I do take this onto my lower lash line as well, but only at the outer third. And now taking the shade Snake Eyes, I'm gonna apply this to the inner third of my eyes, blowing that up past my crease and just diffusing it out around the edges. I want this to be super glam but very diffused at the same time. You can see I also take that into my inner corners as well to highlight that area. And now I'm just taking my black liquid liner, and I'm going to use this to line my lash line and also create a wing. I do go in with the black eyeshadow to extend and smoke out that wing. And then I'm just going to pop on my lashes, and the lashes I'm wearing today are from Petite Cosmetics in the style Honey. And that, you guys, was the first look completed. It was a very simple eye look to do, only 3 shadows. We popped on a wing, lashes, done and easy, but I love how it looks super glam and it looks like you took a lot of time, but it was very minimal step. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this first look. Moving into the second look, I'm going to start off with the shade Pebble Beach, and this is going to be our transition shadow. So I'm just going to work that onto my lid space, and then I'll blend that up into my crease area and towards the brow bone and also towards the outer corners as well. I then take the shadow onto my lower lash line just to work as a base color, just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. Next, going into the shade of Rock Steady, I'm going to use this to deepen out my outer corners and also the inner corners of my eyes. So for my outer corners, I'm just using a smaller fluffy brush and just using circular motions to get this blended out at the outer third. And then I'll go in with a pencil brush for my inner corners because my eyes are a little bit hooded in that area and I want to make sure I'm getting the shadow right in that corner. But I will go back and forth with my brushes to get this blended out. Then we're going to move into the shade Bedrock, and I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing that I did with Rock Steady, but I'm taking smaller brushes. So I'm using an even smaller blending brush and working that at my outer third and then another pencil brush at my inner third. This is just really going to deepen out the eye look and just create more depth and dimension. It's really good to just work in baby steps, so going in with the transition, medium tone, and then the darkest tone. I also take Bedrock onto my lower lash line as well, but I'm going to press this up against my waterline all around just to create a really overall smoky effect. And now I am taking the shade Slated. I'm going to use my pinky finger and I'm going to dab that on right at the center of my eyes. This shadow is a Super Shock and I feel like Super Shocks apply best with your finger. I personally don't like using my fingers for eyeshadow. My finger's a little bit chunky for my eye shape, but it works the best, so I'm just going to stamp that on at the center and then I'll go in with a smaller brush to really blend out the edges and make it look very diffused. But wherever your finger touches first, that's where the most pigmentation is going to be, so we want it at the center. Now I'm just taking my black liquid liner. I'm going to use this to line my lash line and also create a wing. I do go in with a black eyeshadow to smudge and extend that wing out. For my bottom waterline, I'm taking the cream gel liner from Colourpop in the shade Hustler, and I'm going to use this to tightline my entire waterline. And then just for fun, I am taking these little silver gems. I thought it would be a nice way to enhance the halo effect. So I placed a medium one right underneath my eye, right at the center, and then a smaller one right underneath that. It sort of looks like little tears. And then I placed another small one on top, right at the center, just to again enhance that halo effect. And then lastly for lashes, I'm using the House of Lashes Boudoir Lights. And this, you guys, is the second look completed. I wanted to do another halo eye because you guys really love halo eyes. But I did want to make it a little bit different, so I just added these little gems and I really like the overall outcome. I love adding these little gems into my eye looks because I feel like it just makes the eye look sparkle more and it's really eye-catching. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this second look. Alright, final look. I'm gonna start off with the shade Boa, and this is going to be our transition shadow. So on me, the shadow is extremely light, but it does work as a really nice transition and a base color. You can only see it slightly on me, but we're just going to work that into our crease and all over our lids. Then I'm going to move into the shade Rock Steady and I'm going to start packing this onto my lids. I'm going to pack on the most pigmentation on my lid space because that's where I want the most pigment to be. And then I'll slowly start blending this up into my crease to get that gradual gradient blend. And I also take the shadow onto my lower lash line as well. I'm just going to sweep it from the outer corner right to the inner corner. And then next, I'm taking the shade Bedrock. I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm gonna pack this onto my lid space first, and then I'll slowly blend that up. I do want to keep Bedrock a little bit lower than Rock Steady, so that way we do have more of a gradient from light to dark. And this is just going to really deepen out the eyes and make the look extremely smoky. And I also take Bedrock onto my lower lash line as well, but I take it on a defining brush, and I'm gonna press this up against my waterline. Then I'm gonna take the shade Constrictor and I'm gonna place this all over my lid space on top of the matte. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this because I only want the little sparkles to peek through. I don't want it to be too foiled or metallic, so just taking a little bit and tapping it on and you'll get those little sparkles seeping through. You could skip out on this. It looks amazing, like an all matte smoky eye, but because I want to show you as many shadows as I can. And now onto liner, you know the drill, taking my black liquid liner, gonna use this to line my lash line and also create my wing, and then going in with the black eyeshadow to smudge and extend that wing out. I actually also take my liquid liner into my bottom waterline just to tightline ever so slightly. I don't have a black kohl eyeliner that I like that I could use, so I just went in with my liquid liner and it does the job. And then I'm just gonna go in with my lashes. I'm using the Petite Cosmetics lashes in the style Honey. And this, you guys, is the final look completed. I love the final outcome. Something about a cool tone smoky eye just seems more smoky and grungy and sexy. So I really like the final outcome and I hope you guys like it too and like this overall look with the beret, the contacts. It's a vibe. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this final look. And that, you guys, is my review on That's Taupe. Those were my 3 looks. Be sure to let me know which look out of the 3 was your favorite down below. I love hearing your feedback. And also, again, don't forget about Nordgreen. I will leave all of their info down below. Now is the time to shop on them. And thank you to Nordgreen for sponsoring a portion of today's video. So with that being said, that is going to complete today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!